Hey, I'm Nigel Hall, and you are now in tune to my masterclass at KORG. This is a dream come true. I was a kid reading Keyboard magazine and looking at all the beautiful and dope things that KORG has come up with over the years. So this is a very, I'm super excited and honored to be here talking about collaboration, talking about how I come up with my sounds, talking about how crazy I am, talking about George Duke, because we're gonna get into a lot of that. And I hope that you learned something, because I think I learned it. I am a musician. I am the keyboardist and vocalist of the band Lettuce. I have been in that seat for about 15 years. I used to play with Soul Live also, with Eric Krasno and Neil Evans and Al Evans. I also have a solo career of doing my own music and producing my own material. I am a Grammy winner. I play with John Cleary and the Absolute Monster Gentlemen from out of New Orleans, because that's where I live. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I've been able to create music for people and create real music for people. And whatever way I'm able to do that, and whatever way you are able to do that, is a blessing. So it doesn't matter whether you have Grammys or not. Just your will enough to make music and be in a place where you can do that and make your own music is good enough. You are good enough when you are able to put yourself in a place to do that. The instruments that I normally use, okay, there's 3 tiers to this. This is a gear question, so I like this. We're gonna start with the gear that I use in my studio. Now, in my studio, my home studio, I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so I have everything in this little ass room. There's no room for me to walk around in, but I got every sound to make. But in terms of keyboards, I have a CP70, a Yamaha CP70. I have a Fender Rhodes 88 suitcase electric piano. I have a C1 organ. I have a Wurlitzer 140B, the old one, and her name is affectionately Grumpy, because she works when she wants to. I have an Oberheim. Interesting story about this Oberheim SX. It used to belong to Art Neville. For my rig on the road, I have a Rhodes Mark VII electric piano, a KORG Nautilus, which is one of my favorite keyboards. It's becoming very much one of my favorite keyboards of that rig. I have an ARP string ensemble, an old ARP string ensemble, which I want to talk to you about later. We're going to talk about that later. I have an ARP Odyssey, a Hammond XK2, Hohner Clavinet E7, and I have a couple other things that I can't even remember right now, which is very rare that I can't remember. But today I'm using a Nautilus 88 weighted keys, which is really the first time I've ever played one of these. That's really cool. And this is the Nautilus that I own. Oh, and I also have one of these at home too. So I own 2 of them. That's how much I liked it. I like, you guys send me another one, because the other one's out on the road. So I get to have fun at home now with this keyboard. And it's really amazing. Today I'm using these 2, and I'm using the KORG organ, and it's what's the CX3? BX3. It's the BX3, and I've always loved these organs. I had one night I played at the Blue Note in New York City, and they couldn't get me a Hammond. And I'm gonna be honest, when they said that they had a KORG BX3, I was like, really? And then it showed up and we hooked it up to a Leslie. And man, let me tell you something. I had some fun that night, and I was made a believer. And so I'm really glad that I get to use one of these today. I have an ARP Odyssey. This is something that if you've seen me play in the last 6 years, you've always seen it with me. When you're on stage, you're creating a moment, okay? You're with a bunch of people who are supposed to be reading the same word or the same paragraph or the same book, right? In the studio, you still have that. But the great thing about the studio is when you're creating the moment and those moments happen, you have the opportunity to perfect that moment. So, you know, say you're in the studio and you're playing something and everybody kind of clicks on this one thing and was like, oh, that was cool. You can go back and you can go back in the tape and say, okay, well, let's add something to that part and this, that, and the other. And then it becomes this big grandioso thing. But on stage, you only have one time to do it. There's not really much transition other than you have to be aware, more so. You have to be aware of what's going on and always channeling something that allows you to just play the right thing. Because a lot of times when you're just playing, really when everybody is playing simple and everybody's not trying to outdo somebody or something else, those moments will always happen. But in terms of it being a transition, I don't really think that it's a transition. I think that, again, you just have to just be aware of what's going on and listening. Listening is the key. When you're listening to the music and listening to what you're doing and listening to what everyone else is doing, when you're really listening, then the music plays itself. Okay, well, I can definitely say that everything is intuitive. If you're really trying to find your own sound and find something in the music that elevates it, you have to look within to do that. That's not something that you can read in a book. That's not something that you can learn at a school. That's something that you can only learn from experience. Here's another question I'm actually glad you asked, because my biggest influence as a keyboardist is George Duke. And George Duke is the idea of George Duke and the music that he created has been something that has been a lifelong chase for me. But as I've gotten older, I would say, I really feel like I've heard all the George Duke that I can hear. But it's still new to me whenever I listen to it. And that's the beauty of it, you know. I think that is a huge reason as to why I have found my own voice, because after a certain point, you get tired of trying to do and be the person that influenced you so much. Because then you realize, then what the hell are you here for? Because I will never be able to do, and this is, George Duke told me this personally, I will never be able to do what he can do. But he will never be able to do what I can do. And once you realize that, and once you understand and accept that, the love that you have for your influences will never die, but it will be the foundation of the fire within you to keep moving toward finding your own voice. And I have learned that over the years that I will never be able to do what George Duke can do. But I've also found something, I found a lane. That's what it is. It helps you find a lane that is only yours. You know, like I said, that influence of whoever it is that you're inspired by, it will never go away, and you should never suppress it. But use that as fuel to find your thing and be in your lane, because nobody will be able to do what you can do. And, you know, I'm gonna keep trying. I mean, I'm definitely gonna keep trying, but you know, it's only so much there's only so much time we got left. You know. The good thing about when I'm by myself is that my thoughts are uninhibited. I'm crazy as hell as it is. So when it comes to having my own area where I can be free and just play what I want, I can get into things like this, say. Let's be, okay. So I love sus chords too, so that's kind of my favorite thing, and then I'll go. I like to do things like finding one note and finding a whole bunch of chords that go under that note. So say we'll choose E flat for right now, right? And I'll go. Keep there. We're still on that note, right? You know, but that's me when I'm by myself. When somebody else is playing, I really, again, it goes back to listening. It's the best thing you can do in music and in life. You know, when I'm playing with other people, for instance, when I play with Lettuce, being the keyboardist in Lettuce, the thing that we all love to do in Lettuce, you know, because we play funk, and the best thing about playing funk music is really not playing anything. The funk is where you don't play, you know, and you gotta play something. But I spend a lot of time, and I enjoy this. I really, really do. I spend a lot of time doing things like this. So like if the beats are, like there's one particular song that we play called Squad Live. And it's a fast-paced song, but I'm just in the cut and I'm playing an organ. I just I ain't even gotta play that. Just hit the one. You know what I mean? There's so much joy in that, especially when everybody, you know what I mean? When everybody's in that point, in that part of the night where it's like, all right, here we go. You know, and the crowd's into it. And the crowd don't even have to be into it because we into it, you know? But those are some, in terms of collaborating and playing with other people, it's all about listening to them because they will tell me what it is that I need to do. Like, I don't need to be playing, I ain't gotta be playing a whole bunch of chords to make it funky because funk is a 4-letter word. It's not, and you can only count to 4. You know what I mean? So stay in the pocket and play what you need to play because you know, otherwise then you stick out like a sore thumb. And as a keyboard player, when you have everything like especially on the Nautilus, I can go anywhere. I have more sounds than any of y'all can think of. So, you know, I really have to do a lot I have to have a lot of discipline because there are times where I want to do something that may not necessarily be the thing to do at that time. So, you know, again, it all goes back to listening. What I like to do when I talk to vocalists about, you know, a lot of people will come to me and talk to me about advice for vocalists and whatnot, and I generally don't have the best advice when it comes to that because I've always considered myself a singer third. Although I love to sing and I'm a singer, you know. What I try to tell them is to learn piano, learn how chords work on the piano. And if you ever get stuck, sing the chords, sing the notes in the chord. You can't go wrong, you know? But something that I'm also learning and teaching myself is that I'm able to be a conduit of spirit. And when you can use that in your piano, when you go into playing piano that way, then whatever you sing, if you're listening, will always tell you the right thing to do. I should probably do that. I should probably sing something. You know that I know that I know you know. Win some, you lose some, and that's just how it goes. And I know that you know I know. The only way to hold on is to just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. The only way to hold on is to just let it go. Let it go. Yeah. The only way to hold on is to just let it go. Man, I want to get something. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot there. But I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. I am an avid listener and lover of music, and I know I like to call myself a pseudo historian because when I really like something, I get into it and I figure out what is going on, who was there, where it was recorded, the dates. You know what I'm saying? I'm really into all of that, and so I feel like when you're into a certain type of music, and then you study it. I mean, if you want to learn how to play, there's got to be something that you start with. And for me, it was always soul music. Actually, as quiet as it's kept, fusion is where it started for me. When I was a child, again, like I said, I was listening to George Duke, listening to all these crazy ass sounds and shit. And then I was into, I grew up listening to Return to Forever and Frank Zappa and David Sancious and, Herbie and, Jan Hammer and just everything that a child shouldn't be listening to. You know what I'm saying? Or rather, I should say a child shouldn't understand, because I understood exactly what was going on. I sought those records out when I was a kid. My father was like, either he's gonna be a bum or he's gonna be very successful when he grows up. And I've been both. So, you know what I mean? He was right. But in terms of listening to the music and being true to it, there's certain things that you have to listen to and notice. For instance, I really don't listen to anything past like 1982. So my son is always talking about, have you heard a little somebody or whatever? And I don't, and they are into that. They can usually find something of today's music and be like, okay, let's play this. And then I had to be like, well, wait a minute, hold on. I'll pull my phone out, have to pull it in and listen to it real quick. On the gig, I've done it on the gig before, because I don't ever want to be caught playing the wrong thing. It must just me being a Virgo is just like that. But the short answer is to study and listen to eras. You have the 60s, you have the 70s, you got the 80s, you got the 90s. And music has grown every decade, and it will continue to grow every decade. And so just be aware of those things, be aware of how it's growing, and be aware of where it came from, because that is the most important part. Because there's the old saying, you never know where you're going unless you know where you've been. Thank you for watching the masterclass. My name is Nigel Hall. I hope that you learned something. And if you want to follow me, all of my links are down below. They're not going to be up here. They're going to be down here. And I hope that you find everything that you are looking for in your playing, in your research. And I wish you all the best of luck. And again, thank you for watching.